my first guitar pedal was a Boss pedal. It was a TU2 that I've still got in my pedal board now, actually. And yeah, it was like, you know, I think it's the first pedal any kind of guitarist gets. You've got to keep in tune. That's the most important thing. Before that, I kept having to plug into this like Roland. It was like some kind of piano keyboard tuner. So then, you know, I moved up in the world, got a TU2. Next up was like the NS2, because, you know, I didn't want to have that noise in between songs, you know, playing lots of distorted guitars. And from that, I got a distortion pedal. Like, I think I lent it to a mate, he never gave it back to me, but I definitely had it at one point. And yeah, it was just those three pedals together, that's all I needed, you know, switch from clean to distorted, kept in tune, and I kept the noise, you know, when I'm not playing, the breaks down as well. And they're still important to me today.
Amazing. And you know, as we were talking earlier, you've got quite a small pedal board compared to a lot of people out there, and it's nice that you've just got your setup and it's quite clean and you can carry it around easy.
Yeah, my pedal board's pretty small, like, you know, you can fit in a suitcase. For me, it's really important, especially for Gallows. Do you know what I mean? We don't have a very processed sound, and we like to keep it really raw. And so, you know, I stick to the basics. You know, the equalizer works for me because, you know, a lot of these pedals, they can change the sound so drastically. Whereas, you know, I want to keep it really, you know, to the essentials of what makes Gallows and what makes my guitar music. And the equalizer works for that. You know, I can really boost the mids, make the solos come out a bit more. You know, again, I mentioned the tuner, stay in tune, noise suppressor. The delay is great just for creating those noisy moments in the set. And yeah, you know, they've gone all around the world with me. Like, I'm going to Australia soon, China, and they're going to keep traveling with me everywhere I go.
Nice. So I want to speak a bit about Gallows, obviously. So, you know, the new record's been out for a bit now. What's the reaction you're getting from it?
It's been really good, the reaction to the new album. You know, like, getting a new singer is like a massive thing for us. It's a big change. It's a big change for any band. And, you know, we went into the studio. We didn't really spend ages working on the songs. We just wanted to get, you know, everything working straight away. Like, if a track wasn't really happening, like, we'd ditch it, move on to something else. And I think, you know, us being very strict in that sense helped us make a really lean album. And, you know, response has been really good. Like, you know, we were worried at first, but, you know, it's done really well. Like, it came really high up in all the magazine polls. Reviews have been amazing. And yeah, onwards and upwards.
So, you know, I know that you're involved in quite a lot of other projects, and, you know, you're working on side projects in different bands, and you write music for other people, and you've done some video game stuff. What stuff have you got going on at the moment?
At the moment, I'm doing a project called Moons with a couple of my friends. It's very different to Gallows, like it's a lot more kind of reflective. There's dance elements, there's a lot of, you know, slower songs. But it's really great. We've got like over 50 songs written already, just looking to record some stuff now. Also working on another project with a bunch of my mates. Can't really say much about it now, but, you know, some amazing musicians in this new band. It's going to be very metal, it's going to be very loud, it's going to be very good.
And I've heard a few of the tracks without any vocals on, just demos, and I can tell people are really going to love it. So look forward to that. So I wanted to ask you about, let's say that it's 10 years time from now. What stuff that you haven't done do you want to do? What do you want to look back on in 10 years time and go, yeah, that's nice to look back on?
I've done so much already in Gallows alone, and you know, I think doing a lot of these extra projects and working on different things really helps broaden your horizons. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, there's a lot of areas I really want to explore and get involved with. Like, you know, I love dance music. I want to do some more remixing, some more DJing. You know, I love guitar music. I want to play guitar with like a lot of different people. I think, you know, just trying new things is a way to go, and you know, that's why I'm really enjoying life at the moment. I get to play with new toys all the time. Do you know what I mean? It's so much fun exploring new pedals, amps, guitars, whatever it is. You know, it just puts a smile on my face.
And talking of new amps, guitars, you've recently had the GA2 112 and the G5 Strat that we've made. What are your thoughts? Yeah,
I'm loving the GA2 112, the G5 as well. You know, it's like two instruments which I never pictured myself playing. I never imagined myself, playing these kind of instruments and turning around to people saying, these are actually wicked, like check them out. And they are honestly wicked, like, I wouldn't be here talking about it today. There's so much you can do with the G5 guitar. Do you know what I mean? It's like the fact that Fender have put their stamp, their seal of approval on it is, good enough for anyone really. And the amp as well. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just hours of playing, and it's easy to use, and you're not going to get bored ever.
Right, awesome. So I also wanted to talk about tracks that you're most proud of that you've written yourself personally. It could be a riff or a whole track. When you look back at the catalogue of stuff that you've written, what are you most proud of?
It's funny, like we went for this lunch in the States with a few of the guys from Fender, and it's the guy who basically designs all the guitars. He's the main dude, and he said to me, "It's like, hey man, I've been learning to play the riff to Orchestra of Wolves," and I'm like thinking, yeah, all right. He's like, yeah, it's one of the best riffs out there, and like this is a guy who knows his guitars, like blatantly knows his riffs, and he said Orchestra of Wolves is a great riff, and yeah, I love that riff to bits. I think it's quite understated. It's not anything like bold or in your face, but if you listen to the intro to the track, you'll hear what I mean.
Less is more.
Exactly.
That's a nice rule. So I wanted to speak about Ven Records. So this is your record label, or is it Gallows record label as a whole?
Yeah, Ven Records, we started because, we've done the whole major label thing, and by setting up our own label, it kind of cuts out that middleman, like decisions get to be made a lot quicker, and there's no one looking over our shoulder. And so, when it came to the artwork, how we wanted the album to sound, it was all, our decision. And yeah, so it's basically more me, Stu and Wade, like we kind of, we put our own money into it, and we put out a record by this band, Marmozets, awesome band from, near Leeds. They're like super loud, super heavy, and they're so young, like...
I was going to say, I saw them at Reading. I think they were on an introducing stage, and they're really young.
They're super young. They just play harder than anyone else out there, and so we wanted to put our name on that. It's just such a good thing, and they're going to do really well soon. And yeah, I'm chatting to a few other bands at the moment, like some of my favourite bands, about doing some cool little releases, like nothing, not going overboard, because obviously, we don't have that funding behind us, but it's all about working with people people you like, and creating something different and individual.
Absolutely. And you hit on something there about funding. I wanted to ask about what's your opinion on getting ahead in the music industry? With today, not many people have got much money, but then obviously, with social media on the up and up and up every day, it's easier for people to hear your music, whereas 10 years, 20 years ago, it probably wasn't that easy. What's your advice on that?
Yeah, I think there's so many opportunities for bands, young bands, to get their music out there. Obviously online, is quite a popular one, but it's changed. Like the industry's changed. There's people out there who are like willing to invest money into your art, and it shouldn't be looked as a bad thing. I'm not going to name any names, but like energy drink companies, like clothing companies, they'll put money towards you making your music, and bands should embrace that. It's a way of you surviving, doing your thing, and it's not a bad thing at all. Do you know what I mean? Like years ago, people have frowned upon that kind of stuff, but the money's just not there. It's not where it used to be, and you just got to it's really like dog eat dog out there. You just got to take it when you can.
In fact, someone was talking about Johnny Rotten doing the butter advert and how horrendous it was and how punk is dead because of it. But actually, he came back and said, well, I made a new record because of the money that I got from that, because I didn't have the money. So actually, it's not such a sellout thing to do, Cool. Well, I wanted to speak about advice that you would give your 15-year-old self. If you could go back and speak to Lags when he was 15, would you say anything to him?
If I could speak to myself when I was 15, I'd tell me to practice more. I think you get complacent playing guitar and stuff like that. Like I've never really looked into the theory behind it. I've never had lessons. It's all been self-taught, me just thrashing it out. A lot could be said for that because, it takes your playing into different directions, places you never expected it would. But, there's always time for practice. So I would have told myself to practice and play harder.
Right, you heard it here, kids. Okay, so you mentioned once in an interview a while ago that you always wanted to make music that challenges people. Presumably that's still the case. And if so, have you ever had anyone come up to you and talk about how they weren't necessarily into your style of music, but now it's changed them maybe as a person or changed the way that they listen to you?
Yeah, I think Gallows aren't just a heavy punk rock band. Like we've crossed genres. We've had people from all different scenes come up to us and say, love what you do. And I remember we did this festival once, and we were playing this little tent, and Plan B was on the main stage. And so we're playing our set, and we look into the crowd, and it's like, who's that? There's some guy destroying kids in the crowd, and it's Plan B, going absolutely nuts. And his mate as well, who's in the band, they all were wearing those grey suits at the time, and he ripped his suit in the pit to our set. And do you know what I mean? It's stuff like that. Plan B's known for a lot of his more kind of grime, urban, that soul, that kind of scene, and he's come to see us, and that energy which we give off on stage, you can transfer to the crowd, and Plan B was one of those people. And it's one of those things, music can touch people from all different parts of the music spectrum.
Yeah, because you must look out into the crowd some nights and go, I didn't know that sort of guy would come to a Gallows gig, but it's nice to see.
Yeah, we did a bunch of shows with Lethal Bizzle, took him on tour, and how many times you see Lethal Bizzle stage dive, and you see it at a Gallows show.
So 2013, what band should we be listening to?
Well, obviously I mentioned Marmozets earlier, but there's this new band from the States called Single Mothers. They sound, they remind me a bit of the Bronx, and they're actually going on tour with the Bronx pretty soon over here. And just gnarly punk rock and roll, a lot of attitude, a lot of talent. Check it out.
Nice, we'll have a look. Most exciting Gallows moment ever? If you could go back and relive one moment, what would it be?
I think for me the most exciting Gallows moment ever was when probably when we played with Rage Against the Machine, and we've done a few shows with them actually, but when we got asked to play that show they did in Hyde Park after the game of #1, the Christmas #1, that was an honour. And it was pretty funny because we got told before they were even #1 that you're going to be playing that, they've asked you to do it. So fingers crossed the song goes to #1, and we're there going oh, please go to #1, please go to #1. And luckily it did. And yeah, I think Rage, for me, are just one of the best bands that's ever been, always been untouchable. They still kill it live now. Their songs, they stand the test of time, so to share the stage with those guys, so exciting.
So growing up, someone like Tom Morello was a bit of a hero of yours? Yeah,
it's so funny watching interviews with Rage, around that time, and Tom Morello's talking about playing shows with Gallows and, talking about our band. It's Jesus Christ, how's this happened? But,
right.
It's a good feeling.
So, last sad thing that you saw, what's the last thing that kind of upset you or made you angry?
The last sad thing I saw was was on Africa.
You're going to mention the elephant,
aren't you? The elephant, yeah.
That made me almost shed tears.
It was moving. The scene with the elephant nearly, it was on its last legs, and the mother, staying around, and it was really, really sad. Our drummer's just sneaking around the corner there.
He's crying too. Last beautiful thing that you saw?
Last beautiful thing I saw was my girlfriend, who I dropped off at the airport just a couple of days ago. But
That's a good answer. You'll get brownie points.
Yeah,
for
I get to see her on Skype every day, so
nice,
it's fun.
Nice. And you said that she lives in Norway. It's a bit cold there. What was it, minus?
Minus 20. Like, how can anyone live there? Do you know what I mean? Crazy.
So for all the people in the UK complaining about the cold weather,
go to Norway.
Go to Norway, and it will shut you up.
Exactly.
Amazing, man. Well, thanks so much, and good luck with the rest of the year.
Thanks, man.